The question is no longer whether Sir Keir Starmer can save his political career. The question is whether he ever deserved one in the first place. The disillusionment that has swept across Britain is undeniable, and it's time for us to stop pretending that Starmer's leadership has any redeeming qualities. The Labour Party, once a beacon of hope and a voice for the oppressed, has found itself led by a man who cannot, or worse, will not, challenge a Conservative government that has long since run out of steam. And the country is paying the price. Starmer was supposed to be the change, the revitalizing force after the deeply polarizing and chaotic tenure of his predecessor, Jeremy Corbyn. But somewhere along the way, he became a figure of weakness, complacency, and missed opportunities. He has failed to grasp the mantle of opposition leader in a meaningful way, and that failure has become painfully evident with each passing day. He was given the platform to challenge a government mired in scandal, economic failure, and public dissatisfaction, and he squandered it. Let's be clear, Starmer's inability to confront the real issues facing the British people is not a matter of strategy or circumstance. It is a failure of leadership. The cost of living crisis is devastating millions of families, food prices are soaring, and energy bills are crippling the working class. Yet, Starmer's response has been to sit on the sidelines, offering little more than vague statements of support without the action to back it up. This is not leadership, it's a cowardly retreat. In a time of crisis, the opposition party should be the fiercest voice for the people, but Starmer's Labour has become little more than a whisper, unwilling to challenge the status quo in any meaningful way. It is an embarrassing dereliction of duty. Starmer's reluctance to back striking workers is perhaps the most glaring example of this failure. The Labour movement, the very foundation of his party, has been crying out for leadership as it battles for fair wages, better working conditions, and the right to be heard. And yet, Starmer's response has been a muted silence, further alienating the very people his party was meant to represent. How can a man who claims to lead the Labour Party sit idly by while the working class is crushed beneath the weight of rising costs and stagnant wages? The truth is, Starmer is not interested in standing up for workers. He's more concerned with playing political games, making careful moves to keep himself in power while failing to take any bold action that might actually change lives. But perhaps the most egregious failure of all is Starmer's handling of Brexit. It was, without a doubt, the defining political issue of the last decade. Starmer fought tooth and nail against the referendum result, openly pushing for a second vote and seeking to block the will of the people. He has since tried to distance himself from this position, as though the whole saga never happened. But voters haven't forgotten. Starmer's flip-flopping on this issue has not only eroded trust in his leadership, it has left many wondering where his true loyalties lie. Is he committed to representing the will of the British people, or is he simply playing for the approval of an elite few? The scandalous attack in Southport, which left a community devastated, only adds fuel to the fire of public dissatisfaction. The attacker had been reported multiple times to the authorities, yet no action was taken. The tragedy highlighted the deep failures within the system, but Starmer's response was typical. He offered no real solutions and no sense of urgency. His indifference in the face of such loss is a testament to his complete detachment from the real struggles of the British people. There is no denying the fact that Starmer's leadership is on the brink of collapse. He was once hailed as the man who could restore faith in the Labour Party, but now he is a man who has failed to live up to his promises at every turn. The public has made it clear, they do not trust him. His failure to act decisively on the issues that matter most to voters has left a chasm of disillusionment, one that will be difficult, if not impossible, to bridge. At this point, it's hard to imagine any path forward for Starmer that would allow him to regain the trust of the public. His credibility is shattered, and with it, so too is his ability to lead. The Labour Party finds itself at a crossroads, facing the very real prospect of losing not only the next election but the future of its relevance in British politics. The people of Britain deserve more than what Starmer has offered. They deserve a leader who will stand up for them, who will fight for their rights, and who will offer real solutions to the problems that have plagued the nation for far too long. In the end, Starmer's breakdown in Southport was not just a moment of personal weakness, it was a reflection of the growing frustration that many feel toward his leadership. His inability to challenge the government, his indifference to the struggles of the working class, and his failure to take a principled stand on issues like Brexit have all contributed to a growing sense of betrayal. The time for excuses is over. It's clear that Starmer is not the leader this country needs, and if the Labour Party hopes to have any future at all, it must move on from him before it's too late.